Hi and welcome to the first edition of Bang Goes the Bass podcast with myself, Adam Christie, and DJ Matty. Every month we are bringing you exclusive interviews with DJs and MCs old and new who have helped shape the scene as we know it today. First up in the studio we have North East legends Kev Kelly and John Morrow, also known as MC Techno T and MC Jet.
So Kev, how did you first get into the rave scene in the North East?
Went to the Tunnel Club.
And South Shields?
Aye, all my mates were starting to go to raves. I was looking for something new to do at the time, so I was sick of where I was, if you know what I mean. Normally mates go to the Tunnel Club. My mate was the head doorman there, so he says, get yourself down. It was my mate's leaving party, actually was going in the army. So there's about 12 of us turned up at the Tunnel Club, and we were just drinking in the bar downstairs. He says, they've got a rave on upstairs. So it was like, let's get on, let's go and see how these daft ravers got on. Went up there, looked round, there was loads of kids we knew who weren't skinheads anymore, were in the rave scene. And like they were all pilled off their nuts, having the fucking time of their lives, and we're like stand there, not one fucking pint, say what the fuck's going on, yeah. One of them goes, you fancy half a pill, like? So I go on then, stand there, this is shite, this, like. It's shite. Foot starts going, you know what I mean? Definitely shite, like, next thing you know, we're on the floor, tops off, going mental. And that was it.
Best night of your life.
Best night of my life. I went from one reality to another one in the space of about 2-3 hours.
So who were the DJs back then? Can you remember? Was it Richie P playing?
Richie P, XL, Colin was there because their Robin was on the mic, rocking Rob. Not really took much more notes out then. To be honest, Matty was just music and fucking pills and enjoying yourself, really, you know. Yeah, good vibes.
So obviously the music was different from the skinhead scene that you were into previously. Was it the music that like kept you going back?
Changed your life overnight.
It changed my life. It wasn't so much the music; it was the vibe, the rave vibe. It was like literally, man. It was like literally going from one world to another, right? You're like back in the skinhead days, if you were in a fucking pub and somebody was looking at you, you're fighting, mate, right? Next thing I know, I'm in a rave and somebody's looking at us, and I've got a new friend. 92, I've still got people who I'm mates with from then. Through the raves, it was literally just like stepping from one reality to another, a much better reality, much more friendly reality. Musically, it was just something to bop about with until like the European techno and all that started coming. I started taking notice of the music as such, you know what I mean?
German trance.
Years before that, mate. You know what I mean? We're talking 92, you know, the stuff that XL originally played in the After Dark. The music came sort of later. But it was about the real vibe more than anything else, you know.
92, I was like 11, so I was just starting to hear tapes back then, like so.
So were you buying tapes, John? Then, or were you?
No, I was getting them off my cousins and me, like
so
my older mates and that. No, we were just
stealing them.
We sold tape cassettes and that, so we were recording each other's tapes and that. You know what I mean? So that's when, I was probably about 12, actually 12.
So you were getting into it
11, 12 was getting
time, but obviously
ages. But I was just like I was just going like under 18s and nappy nights and that. Then you know what I mean?
So what was the reason for you wanting to get into the MCing, Kev?
Right, well, it's no secret that I came from that fucking Nazi rave, that Nazi fucking band, right? And like once things switched over, like I'd stepped out. Racism's bollocks in the fucking story, right? And like I'd seen that towards the end of it anyway. And like I mean, I used to have some good nights watching Jimmy and them on, but they didn't inspire us to be an MC, you know. Then I went down Doncaster and I was watching Nats and they were sort of like telling the stories and creating vibes. And I got in my head, I thought, well, I can do that and start putting positive stuff out there, anti-racist stuff, and like sort of redress the balance, even if it was just in my own fucking head, you know what I mean? But start putting good stuff out there instead of like nasty stuff, you know. In my mind, redressing the balance, making people happy for the right reasons.
Yeah, definitely. And what was the first club that you MC'd at, and how did you get on there? Can you remember?
First club I MC'd at. I did back in '92. We did time zone events, but they were illegal raves, picnic areas. We would get about 300 people there, mind you. You know what I mean? And like my mates' garages, but I'm talking like proper industrial garages now. You get a couple of hundred. That there, so I was like half just hosting on the mic then, you know. I think the first place I did it was in Coliseum, would be the After Dark one.
Right.
You know, I did a little bit of the Destruction, but After Dark one. That was me mate, first place I started. The original one, yeah.
Sunderland.
So,
I know where it was. I was there.
So obviously being a lyricist and writing your lyrics for your band, were you, when you first got into MCing, were you writing rhymes or were you just freestyling? What was the style?
Bit of both, mate. I sort of like wrote what I know as key lyrics and like bounced in between them, you know. Bounced in between them. It's like it was completely new territory for us. And I won't say it didn't take a long time to adapt, you know what I mean? But
definitely.
so I just sort of worked it as it came, you know what I mean?
Fine, because obviously back then there's probably not many MCs around. G-Force.
It was Jimmy, Baz, Rhyme, fucking hell. They were the, you know what I mean? And then me and Daz Attack sort of came up in the same era type of thing, you know? Then I brought like Danny on, then you know, but that was
sort of developed from there.
Robin's like I say, his brother.
Yes, sorry, fuck no. Robin was doing it with Colin now.
Because you had like before, like I think I was saying before, like Lee Harrison.
That was predates my era totally.
So I think that must be like who Jimmy sort of.
Yeah, 91. That's 91. Predates my era. That like.
So what were the first rhymes? Can you remember what you first came up with back then?
You can. Are you going to say it? Nah, I'm not.
Do you still see them now? Or?
I do, mate. I do. I go on then. I'll say what the first one was like. Obviously, it was like black, red, yellow, brown. Listen to the vibe I'm laying down. Coming in from a man who's white. All I'm saying is now let's unite. One nation, one tribe. But don't forget the vibe. Don't forget the key. All we need is unity.
Aye. It's good, so that was the positive message.
That was one of my. Aye.
So obviously, doing the After Dark, the original After Dark, then where did you go after that? Was it the venue?
Venue. And
what was your thoughts on the venue as a club? What was it like in there?
It was alright, it was a good laugh, but I mean, when I first went in there, the MC situation was fucking stupid, man. Right. There would have been about 8 of them queuing up, and they're like fucking, you'd be on the mic and that, and as soon as you finished lyric, they were fucking grabbing it, you know what I mean?
Snatching it out, yeah.
Snatching it, so like, I sat, watched how it went on, and I just moved in probably because your MC Fresh was like the head MC there. He was like running it for Morris.
Yeah.
And they used to like, people used to give him a hard time, so I made sure they didn't. So me and them like swap the mic, and it just sort of developed from there, you know. And we're like, Steve first sort of get around it because then they had a proper structure to the MC system instead of just Tom, Dick and Harriet fucking jabbing on and having a laugh, you know. They had one good kid, I do apologise, I'm forgetting his name, but he's a good MC, but he got killed over Newcastle, you know what I mean, and he sort of like held it all together, you know. Once he left, it's just went to shit.
Basically needed a corporal for the troops.
Basically needs somebody to tighten things up.
It was every man in his dog unless you had someone with like a heavy hand who was willing to like keep them on.
Not even a heavy hand, mate, just like keep the fucking job right, you know what I mean? You know?
Well, it was the most intimidating one. That's what it was. And then you stepped in and took over.
Thank you.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
That's how he got the job.
Fuck off.
Right, so we moved on from bullying all the other MCs. So what
Techno, it's Techno shit.
Fucking
coming out now, isn't it?
Fucking bully you. You're right.
So what was your thoughts on the music policy, like the Italian stuff that was getting played?
See, it was all right, but at the same time, I was going down the destruction, listening to fucking European hardcore. You know what I mean? They were like years ahead of the music that was getting played up here. You know, so like basically I'd be listening to hardcore, then go and work in the fucking Pupanani at the venue. I was there for 18 months, but like we did have some good times, right? It was a good laugh, but I wasn't never
fully invested in
I wasn't a hood. We had some fucking class times, you know what I mean? But what happened to the venue, like your water pistol and your harder sound started coming in.
But bass generator stuff.
The management wouldn't have it. They wouldn't have it. It had to be Italian. And that was the end of the club, because once you start dictating the music policy, you aren't allowing the club to grow. So that's
limiting the DJs and
you know. It was a shame really, because it lowered the potential. But
what were your thoughts when the venue burnt down? When you heard?
Well, I was at the Coliseum then.
And
I'd gone. I mean, it was a shame, obviously. You know what I mean? It's all people's livelihoods, and you know, a lot of good memories, but shit like that sort of happened a lot them days, you know. The Monkey got burned down, this got you know.
It's just
Old school days.
You know,
a
shit
lot
went on.
different now. So what was your thoughts on the difference in the music between the venue and the Coliseum? What are you thinking? Well, this is
Coliseum was
more
streets ahead.
streets
More
ahead.
meat, harder
Yeah.
music, better bass lines, fucking just... Yeah.
right up your
The way I see the Coliseum, right, is everything that happened in the North East Rave wise built up to the Coliseum.
Yeah.
And after the Coliseum, it was never the same again.
Right.
So for me, the pinnacle of the North East Rave scene
Was the
been
Coliseum.
I mean, I know people went to Monkey and had a good time, God knows how, but they went to Monkey and had a good time. I'm sorry, I had to get that in. But no, seriously, you know what I mean? But like, if you want to go, if you take it structural wise, the Coliseum was the highlight of the North East Rave scene. Like.
And I think it was around that time that you sort of formed a partnership with Sled Sea, Double Trouble, or was that the venue?
Colin, fucking good crack.
So you used to hear that on the tapes.
Well, it started the venue one because like it was the same. Everybody was playing the same tracks in the venue, but Colin used to play the B sides.
I've heard a couple
Tried
of
to
sets
do
when
something
he's,
different. We used to come select the B, you know what I mean?
B sides.
But Colin always did something different, so you know that was what I was about, you know.
And the Awesome Three were Danny and Charlie.
You see, this is class crack once again, but it was the fucking beginning to the end. We used to do because there was only like 3 MCs worked the club, 3 maybe 4 MCs took on an all-nighter. So instead of giving people the same old formula over all night, me and Danny would do like a back-to-back.
Is that when the back-to-backs first sort of come
started,
in?
now you fucking call your single set. Everybody thinks it's got to be back-to-back, which obviously fucks the
3
music.
MCs and a set,
think-
on a
You know what I mean?
45-minute set or half an hour set.
I
Like,
don't
you
agree with
know
it.
what I mean? You're getting 2 lyrics each, aren't you? And then it's done, innit? It's like...
I don't agree with the 45-minute sets,
No,
like, especially when you're DJ and you play.
Should be hour and a half set of
Like,
anything, shouldn't it, really?
definitely.
To show what you can do, like, build it up.
So the Coliseum was that when you came in, John, like MCing? What was your first sort of experience MCing?
First big club, Coliseum, it'll have been 96, 97 or something like that, yeah.
Before that, how did
Before that.
Give me D crashes and nurseries. You know what I mean?
Before that, I was about 14 maybe. I used to go down the town in Hartlepool.
Going in mother care. Yeah.
Shut up. I used to go down the town in Hartlepool with my mates on our bikes and all that. We used to crack on with the bouncers. We used to wait outside the clubs 2 o'clock in the morning to whistle at the lasses and like cheer the lads on fight and that. And then I went down on my own one weekend and obviously cracking onto a bouncer and I got either beats going and that. And I said, there's a rave on in there. He said, yeah, go on, get yourself up. So he said he'd shut my bike in the office. He said, so I ran up the stairs like a kid at Christmas. Went in, I knew half the people in there. They were like all my best mates, older brothers and cousins and all that. And that's when I first met Scott in full effect. And I managed to end up getting on the mic, 5 minutes on the mic or something like that. Obviously, I knew everybody in there, so I give half of them a shout out. Obviously, everyone went mad. So the lad who ran it said, "Do I want a job?" And that's where I got my first job. I was about 14, and then I went from there to K2 in Billingham. Used to do bits and bobs there before. We used to go to the Coliseum, and then obviously once I went to the Coliseum, Kev was in jail at the time. I was getting little bits of scraps of goes here and there. Sorry, mate, sorry. Get little scraps of goes here and there and all that. But then when Kev got out, obviously he was looking for new MCs, and that's how I ended up getting on there.
Yeah. Did you have to hand like a demo
No,
back then?
there was
Or
No,
no
he just
demos,
fucking followed us.
No, I just pestered him.
Yeah,
you
just
know what
followed
I mean?
us. You know what I mean?
I got told to fuck off every week, like.
I
Until
used to have a house in the middle of nowhere, Matty.
It's
Right?
a
2
turn up
mile in the middle of nowhere, right? Now, fucking, I used to look after my mate's dog, right, called Jet. Right, now what
Jack
it was,
Russell.
this fucking, my mate took it back. The dog didn't like his wife, so every time my mate went to work, the dog fucked off. Bear in mind, this was 2 mile out of concert. And I'd open the door in the morning to get the milk, and there'd be the dog. All of a sudden, this could find out where I lives, right? And I'd be opening the fucking door, and there was John, the Jack Russell, in the fucking pint of milk. I said, "Oh, John, where you come from?" You know what I mean?
So is that where you got your name from, Jet?
So he says my name's MC Psycho. I said,
So there's already a Psycho, wasn't there?
Mate, you should see the clip about he had a cow lick like that.
Two
And he
stone wet
looked
through at the time, you know what I mean?
He looked about 2. I said, "Son, you're the most unlikely looking psycho I've ever seen in my life." Like, I said, "I'm going to name you MC Jet after the dog." You know what I mean? The dog was a legend, by the way.
Oh,
you
the
know what I
dog
mean?
was a legend, like.
So it
proper
wasn't
legend.
after Jet off the Gladiators?
No, mate, no. You know, it is at first, when he called us Jet, that's all, the only Jet I knew was out off the Gladiators, and I was like, oh, for fuck's sakes, I hated it. I cringed every time he said it, because we were looking, it was a couple of weeks, I think it was, he goes, "We need a new MC name for you." And I was like, and he was like, he said jet, and I was like, oh, for fuck's sakes, man, you know what I mean? I was like, anyway, it ended up growing on us, and now I'm bigger than the Gladiator jet herself, you know what I mean?
Outlasted them, aye.
But the dog was a pure legend, so I am proud to be called Jet after the dog.
Well, there you go.
Hence who let the dogs out, kid, you know what I mean?
So it's all come full circle, hasn't it?
Full story for you there.
So who were you going to the Coliseum with back then? Was it like Benny Ford and people from...
It was Benny Ford back in the day, yeah. Used to get the bus through from Hartlepool. There was a few of us used to go through, but the numbers used to get less and less. And my other mates in Hartlepool, they were going down different paths and that, and starting like, there was a phase to them, which it is to a lot of people and that, and I just had the bug. I couldn't stop going, to the point where I ended up just going through on my own on the bus, because I knew everybody there, and once I was there, I didn't care how I got home or where I went after that, you know what I mean? As long as I got there, I wasn't bothered.
So was there competition between like the other new MCs in the Coliseum who hadn't been like in the scene earlier, like to get on? Like,
yeah, there was rivalry, without a doubt, yeah. I mean, apart from the likes like a Kev, Attack, all the big names getting on at that time, whatever scraps were going, there was rivalry for getting on, do you know what I mean? And obviously there was rivalry before Kev come back to the Coliseum, but once Kev got out, Kev come in and straightened the whole place out, like, and took on who we thought was the best at the time.
What we're talking about before, when obviously I'd been to jail, Kev, and I was saying, is that where the ghost of Techno T's...
No. Honestly, mate, rave rumours are amazing. All like, it was in the aftertalk, that. I come in, Webster, fucking nearly had a heart attack. Well, he was fucking, I thought you were dead. I went, nah, alive as fuck, mate, you know what I mean? So that was me having the fucking ghost of Techno T and a haunt, you know?
Aye, because I used to hear them on the tapes, and obviously, like, being young myself, but never going, you would think, what does he mean for that?
What inspired it, everything. That was a crack. That was just one of the rave rumours, you know. I went After Dark 2 after being open a while, when I first got out of jail. And it was all right, but to be fair, when the Coliseum shut down, to go to the After Dark 2 was like going from Premier League to fucking Division 1. You know what I mean? It was a proper... It was what it was. We had some fantastic nights there. But as I say, after the Coliseum, man, nothing scratched the surface. Like
Coliseum was massive, like lasers. Like first time I went in there, and you could either go downstairs onto the dance floor from the past the chill out rooms on the bottom floor, or you went upstairs and you come out on the top balconies. And the very first time I went in, I come out on the top balcony, I was just like, wow.
Blown away.
Absolutely blown away.
Mass sound system,
10 out
of 10 to sound system, you know what I mean? It was just like banging, absolutely something else. Chocker, rammed.
When you look at
was spray painted out.
Videos, where you had all of the, it was like a theme, wasn't it? You had all of the Coliseum, like the gods and Zeus and all of that.
I mean, I was our first night there, first impressions. It was Alan Lecknetters at the door, God rest him. And he took me, he says, what do you think of this? I remember it was just full of effect, was on playing 2001. Right, this track was just starting, and it was like, what? The lasers, the lights, blew anything the venue done away. You know what I mean? The venue was a good vibe, but lighting-wise, it was more of an exaggerated school disc, you know what I mean? You know? You maybe get the laser if you had a good PA on, but otherwise it was just a good vibe.
Standard lights.
The fuck Polo was something else, mate.
When the Coliseum was raided, did it affect either of you? Did you?
I wasn't there that week.
Why not?
I was lucky that night. I was I used to do a gig at Bishop Auckland before I went to the Colo.
Right.
Now, what happened the night I was going to the Colo, the kid that took us, one of the dominees to take us through, he was working on it at that door till 2 o'clock, so I just stayed in the pub, had a few pints. Well, by the time we went through 2 o'clock, you could just see helicopters, fucking police and everything. We pulled up at the lights. It was on red. And fucking Daft Darrell Sunbass is knocking on the window. get out of the car and I'll tell you what's happened. Fuck off, you know what I mean? Get away, I don't know you. If I'm fucking driving down the road and he's practically chasing the car, it's being busted, fucking get me out of here, will you, you know?
What was it? Was it Operation Roman? Is that what it was, or was that just a rumour that
well, I had a grand on us, didn't I? But it was for merchandise, honest governor. It was for merchandise, you know what I mean? And I had to take it there, but like, if I'd have got stopped and pulled as part of a fucking bust
with a grand on
with a grand on us, you know what I mean? It would just, you know, wouldn't look good at all.
Yeah, stopping at a club that's getting busted for drugs with a grand in your pocket does not look good at all, mate. At all, like.
There's obviously an underworld side of things going on in the background with the people running the clubs and things. Was that just going on in the background, like always, to the music?
Always.
Without a doubt.
Always. I mean, all I'm saying is, but like, you know, people, the buzz up the Coliseum vibe and all that, but if they only knew how much it's fucked people's lives up so they could play that music. You know what I mean? There's still people now paying a very high price for running that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they want to be very, very grateful that they had it. Because some people paid a very,
for
very
their
high...
sacrifice wouldn't be
they paid a very...
Yeah.
I mean, okay, they make money themselves, but it's ruined their lives. Like,
just to put that on, to give with the scene.
Just so everybody, you know, everybody, great, the music, they don't realise that.
The crowd's never
They don't realise what went on in the background. That's all I'm really going to say on that one, you know, but
it was just a show to the ravers, to the crowds and all that, wasn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So obviously you had the I think it was Taunton Techno, like the Scottish stuff getting played, Scott Brown stuff, and the Coliseum, and like the Happy Hardcore started coming in towards the end. But then really there was a sort of German trancecore came in the After Dark, which sort of, like, I know people go on about the Makina, but like the German trancecore was like
trance, man, it's a fucking...
It's one that should have been bit on a lot more, you know what I mean? But obviously,
Alan used to look to like Scotland and all that for his vibe, and when it was the club scene going, it was class, but Scott tried to do the same. Basically, he didn't have the budget. I always said, look down, you know, like some destruction, look down south for your DJs. That's where the real scene is, you know. But in
music was a lot more diverse.
There was more diverse way that. I mean, Scott did with a Hangar, and he's never looked back, you know what I mean. But the After Dark was still too fucking Scottified, like, you know what I mean. And it had its day by then, you know what I mean.
So you had people like Reaper, and I think Inferno was playing like a lot of the German trance, and like
I used to buy the German trance. Reaper, I used to play it. We were a team. You know what I mean. So it's what I was bang into, you know. So I was bang into.
So what made you go down to Destruction and Uprising, those type of events?
Well,
I've
been going there since '92.
Right.
So I used to go down Dunny Warehouse when it was open. I had good friends down there through one thing and another, you know. And it just followed on from there, really.
It's just their scene evolved.
See, I knocked about down there for about 2 years. You know what I mean? We used to knock around the DJs, the MCs, the doorstep. Everyone used to be pals. It was like a fucking community. It was an excellent fucking place. You know what I mean? I used to love going down there. I used to love the music. So it was ahead about anything that was getting played up here.
You had like M-Zone and Marty G playing, like you listen to stuff now, and people are playing stuff now, and this...
They were years ahead.
The innovators, they were the innovators,
they were pioneers.
The innovators of the trance scene.
They were pioneers of the Euro trance and all that stuff that come from Germany and over that way, and that they were the masters. They still are. I
mean, like they were playing. Like Reaper used to. That's where he used to get a lot of his inspiration from. He was playing through Time Zone and that. He was playing hardstyle back in 2001. They did twig on up yet a little about 2008, 2009. You know what I mean? Once again, years ahead of the music, you know, which is what I'm about. I'm always looking for something new.
Well, I think that's like one of the biggest criticisms. Like people from outside of the North East, when they look at our scene,
they're stuck in a time warp, aren't they?
Mate, for 10 years, the North East was stuck in a retro time bubble. It wasn't until Monte come along and started doing something different, pushing something different. Scott used to try. Well, he used to try. He used to make his own stuff, but like. He'd sort of like bowed out of the scene for a while, you know what I mean?
Scott did do it with the Hangars, do you know what I mean? When the Hangars rang the course, Scott did do it. Obviously, yes, Monte come in, Monte had a lot more DJs producing
Monte provided something new.
Where there was just Scott producing his own stuff, but he was bringing eggs of M Zone, and he was in with all them down there.
I was, but it all finished that though, you know.
Yeah,
what I mean?
Scott.
It went 0-2, yeah, and the
did
Monta lads come in with something fucking
The
fresh.
same was on the task
new,
for a good
well
couple of
produced.
years. Like,
you know what I mean?
I was on the task for a good couple of years. Wasn't
Yeah,
it?
definitely.
I mean, I'm not really into McKenna, but the
After
fact that it was
Scott.
new stuff was worth fucking going for, you know. Plus they're good lads. Good
But
kids.
come back on that, just going back to like the After Dark days, John, you and Massive were like the sort of next
Back to
back pairing, like from Kevin, what Danny were doing in the Coliseum. People still talk about that now when they say who would you like to see on the lineup. It's Massive and Jeff from the like. What do you think about that? Like just looking back.
Yeah, mate. All class memories. Absolutely class memories. Never forget them. Like. You had to be there, you know what I mean? It was meant, but it wasn't a planned thing. It was just it just worked, you know what I mean? Kev obviously got us both on there. Kev got me the gig at the After Dark, and he said, I'll introduce you to me mate Scott. Well, it just turns out the very first club I ever got in at,
Scott.
when I was 14, and I got my first gig at in Hartlepool. That's when I met Scott and Jace Full Effect, and it turned out years later. When was it? Being 97 or something? 97. I'll introduce you to me mate Scott. He's promoting. He's like he's running the After Dark, the DJs, MCs. I'll see if I can get you on there. And when I met him, it was like, hey, it's you. He was like, hey, it's you, and that was it. Like obviously, I knew him off. Yeah, hit it off from there. So
like looking back, when people look at sets and like they sort of define that era, for me, I'll look at the set that you did with Inferno when he's playing all the German trance stuff.
And that,
It sounds, I don't know if the tape's been speeded up or if he's actually played them that fast.
Yeah, because some of them records don't seem to go that fast. Especially was no CD. That's what, but yeah, fast sets, fast sets.
Inferno, the poor man's Ripper. Sorry, Chug.
Yeah, it was. It was all the tunes Peter was playing, Reaper. Basically, but it was good to see someone else. Because not enough people were playing trance back then. It was either all Scottish hardcore or McKenna, do you know what I mean? Or Scott obviously playing the warm-up stuff, but yeah, there wasn't enough trance back then. So it was good to see.
Fucking star.
It was it was good to see.
Doing a bit of a revival with that. The last few sets he's played, I think, is Shooting Star.
Don't.
The other one I would say, like from sort of '99, would be you and Danny with Scott on the decks from Valentine's Day tape. What's like still when you listen to it now, like I don't know if it's just me, like from
people still buzz off it now. Type of thing.
It's
a timeless.
Before it's your Valentine's Day, Halloween, Boxing Days.
It's all your main events.
It always went their extra mile because everybody was on the top
and
buzz
the
because of the event.
With that extra more, like probably overcrowded of anything. Do you know what I mean? So it was like the
clubs
were like
mile, you know?
the crowds were like rammed. Chuckets wall to wall like that, and the dance floor used to maybe go up and down in the After Dark. It probably used to move about 2 or 3 inches. You could stand on it and it looked like you were bopping like that. You weren't moving, your legs were locked up, but the dance floor moved about 2 or 3 inches because the place was that chocker. It was an upstairs floor, and the dance floor used to bend like flex like that. And
so
that's
you
how
didn't even dance, you just pretended
I was just blagging it. When I thought I was saving my legs, I was saving my legs to the wear.
The lazy man's way to rave, go the After Dark.
I don't need to dance, I know.
So you've got like specific rhymes, what you say, the tunes, like let me hear the
signature
DJ.
Rhymes.
Signature rhymes.
Yeah.
How did they come about?
I just
shot by chance.
Basically, I used to listen to the tapes after I'd done them. Not for the fucking fact that I wanted to hear myself. You know what I mean? I wanted to hear what rhymes worked with what songs. And if something was working well with a certain tune, you did it because at the same time, if the crowd knew that, then they knew that tune was coming in, they knew the rhyme you were going to say to it, and then you start into the buzz because then they can sing along with you, and it makes them feel. I know it did for me when I was on
part of the buzz.
You were part of it. It made everybody part of that. You know what I mean? At the time, so if a lyric worked with a song, that's what you used to do. You know what I mean? Stick with it.
So you've got obviously Knives and Guns on Let Me Hear the DJ and Stage 1, Stage 2 on Bellissima. What other ones would you say off the top of your head?
Fucking hell. God knows, mate. God knows.
They're the two ones that
Lost in Time, you know what I mean? Put a tune on, they'll probably like rock, you know what I mean?
That's what you get when you rock with the best. And a pest,
So the McKenna was coming in sort of late 98, 99, I think. Places like Austin's and a few of the record shops were getting a few copies, and Scott was going in, buying them, all the copies, playing them, and then obviously took it a step further, going to Spain, bringing them in.
It's his fault.
Did you say he was buying all the copies then?
Well, I've spoke to Scott about it, and he says he would go to Austin's and Middlesbrough,
Buy the lot.
buy 5 copies of The Cat or something, and then he would go in the coffee shop, the Greasy Spoon over the road, watch someone go in, and then come out empty-handed, and then he would have all of the copies.
Yeah, that's Scott.
you
Like,
serious?
he'd buy them all up. He wouldn't just go to the record shop.
Whether you're a black or whether you're white.
Yeah,
Monster Jam.
He went and bought every single
got-
one of them, so he was the only DJ that
all the
played.
DJs as well. He paid
He
them
bought
stupid
our
money
copy
for
off
them.
it just so he could be the only DJ that played.
And no one else had it.
You know?
He had hoarded all
That
the
was
copies of
good
it.
strategy.
Good strategy.
Good
'cause he was-
strategy.
he was- that was his signature track on his warm-ups as well, you know what I mean? So he...
I wish he'd bought
Master.
fucking shooting stars
Master.
for everybody. Like,
I
so.
was
didn't
shooting
get
star and then
hammered.
burn every copy.
So the Makina, when it came in, were you thinking like, oh, this is just something totally different, or were you not
I
keen
wanted to
on
buy
it,
an
or-
ice cream every time it come on, you know what I mean?
Ice
You
cream
know?
one tunes.
I didn't like it, mate. I
Yeah.
did, but
I was
I
all
worked
right
with
at
it because
first.
it was Scott was my friend. Obviously,
Yeah.
we worked with him, so that's what he wanted to play. Well, obviously, we had his back, and that's what worked us. But now it's no secret, I've never been a fan. Like,
It was all right at first, but then
It
it's
wasn't.
got that
He's
one of
lying.
them same sounds, like a bit like Scouse, where it's all dunk stuff, it's all the same, and every tune sounds the same. So you can only play it for so. Like, you need to mix your labels up, and otherwise you're just all the same sound.
Repetitive.
Innit? Yeah, repetitive, too repetitive. Yeah.
So Scott obviously opened the Hangar in 2000, but it wasn't an all-night and drink was served. What was it like then? Did the scene change for you?
it was fucking class
Yeah,
not having
it
to
was
do it all night. You know what I mean?
Aye.
Bear in mind, I've been doing all night. That's for something like 12, 15 years.
Maybe it's a
And
few
then on
more
the Sunday, like
fights.
I said, I'd finished with the monkey and all that for me reasons. And you go, you go after parties after it, but it was nice just to finish your thing.
Get
And
home
then
at a
you get
reasonable
home,
time.
you know what I mean? You know, and then you actually had the option of a Sunday dinner, which I always used to have a Sunday dinner on a Monday. It was known as a Monday dinner, heated up in the microwave, you know what I mean? That's if you got it on a Monday, you know, sometimes it was a Tuesday.
Maybe it's a
Wednesday.
couple more fights. Maybe it's a couple more fights, and maybe it's every now and then, you know what I mean? But that's about
Well,
it.
it's
That's the
alcohol
only
in it, you
difference.
know what
That was
I
the
mean?
only
That was
difference,
the only
really.
difference,
The
yeah.
crowds were still rocking the same. There was no, you know what I mean?
I think the Monkey opened around about 99, but it started off as like a trance or house club,
Well,
and
they
then
tried it as a trance house club, mate, that didn't fucking work.
so it just turned into what it was.
So it turned,
It
I
wasn't even
mean,
trance house, it was more trance.
what was more house? Well,
wasn't it?
that's what they went for, because they had
It's like
Impact
a
from...
beef for stuff, Jules.
Jules from doing
A
Impact,
Ibiza
and then
stuff
Jace Full
really,
Effect is a good house DJ. So Jace was playing some
It
house.
was still
that.
good, like. It was
Still good when they
I
just-
enjoyed it, like.
He put MCs on with it. And your house crowd don't like fucking MCs. It's as simple as that. As soon as they see the flyer with MCs on, your house crowd are going to go there. That's all there was to it. So it could have been a potential, but David did the right thing. He knows he can make money at rave. So I fucking lose a lot of money trying to do something that
Wasn't working.
had a very good chance of not working, you know.
Why fix it if it's not broken?
Well, yeah, man, you know. So we turned it into a crash. You know what I mean? And you had to drop your kids off there for the night before you went to the, go to the pub and then pick them up the next day. You know what I mean?
It was what did you think was like compared to, obviously you said the Coliseum was like this huge club and you had the balconies and things, which was because it was like a nightclub beforehand, and the Monkey being a bingo hall, it was a lot bigger than the After Dark, was it?
It wasn't so
It
much
was
the
all
club,
right.
it was the crowds. It was back then, it was like all ages, all walks of life. And then obviously from the after that, really, it started getting stereotyped more to like a young Chava scene. So then your older lot and all that started fizzling
Disappeared.
out, and then by the Monkey and that,
I mean,
by the Monkey come, that was it.
I'm a bit older than the rest of them anyway, non-seeing. I got too fucking much in the end, you know what I mean? When I'm fucking...
The age got
sitting
younger
there,
and younger,
this
didn't
kid
it?
sitting next to us pulled off the nuts. So a couple of years ago, I was watching play with their action line in their dad's house, you know what I mean? It's like, nah.
Time
It got
to change.
not stereotype, but it did go to a certain age
I mean,
range.
last
What
time
a
I was
younger
there,
age?
Monkey was Boxing Day 2001, and like the music was old hat. I wasn't really into the MCs. Good kids, don't get me wrong, but it was just to see it. I thought, what the fuck am I doing here? I'm not into it. And they were bands, mate. They were fucking too young, you know, because the age limit was 16. Well, how were?
Well, I think
I
I first went to the Monkey in 2001 when I was 16.
Well, that's, I mean, you know, it wasn't my cup of tea. I've no doubt fucking other people had a fantastic time there. But from my perspective, musically, it was bollocks.
Yeah.
It was going nowhere. And if you don't stop making me fucking drink, you little tramp, I'll fucking kill you.
I was waiting, need a suss.
You know what I mean? You fucking alcoholic, you know what I mean? No, but it wasn't my cup of tea, you know what I mean? And, I don't know.
I think there's a lot of, like, when you talk to people about eras, like, depending on what age they were, like, the Monkey was my era in 2001 or 2004 when I went and I was enjoying it. And then you talk to other people about the Coliseum and they think, like, oh, well, the rave scene died in 97 and that's when they sort of went on and did other things. And you look back and it's like, it's the own personal, what I think's the own personal experience of how they were.
And I couldn't agree with you more, mate. I couldn't agree with you more. Like, as I say, I've no doubt that people had a fantastic time there. That was their era of rave. But you look at videos of the original rave clubs, right?
What that was.
To what the Monkey, there were kids, mate, who were in it, and it was like. Yeah, there was always a younger element, wasn't there? Of course there fucking was. But when I first started going, there was people older than me. You know what I mean? It was like a cross-section of society went to a rave. That was what was the good thing about it. No matter who you were, fucking punk, skinhead, hippie, gangster, fucking normal street mush, whatever. Everybody went to a rave and everybody was on the same level, you know? By the time the Monkey turned round, it was... towards the end, there were just bands, mate. You know what I mean? And
it was more like a youth club on it.
There was, you know, and along with that, you had all the fucking taxing and the bollocks and all that was going on.
Not for you.
And no doubt people enjoyed themselves, but it wasn't my cup of tea. That's all there was to it, you know.
So obviously, in 2001, like late 2001, when you both left, you had TNT was getting the odd go here and there, like Last Hour. He started getting on a bit more, getting like a set, like as a guest. And then by Boxing Day, I think it was the first time he was on the flyer, Boxing Day, and Tazo was on. And after that, like, you both sort of left you, KC, Massive, I think you all sort of went at the Hangar. And then really they come in. So if you hadn't left, like...
Well, whatever, I mean, they might have come in anyway. It's the way it goes, you know what I mean? You need that. If them lads hadn't to come in, it was just us old fuckers doing
That's
it.
Right.
It would have burnt out. There's got to be new ones. It's not even that.
It was a tight ship. Like if that basically give them.
I see this progression. It's progression. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even from my perspective, you were just a kid when I got you on the. You've got to keep on bringing new people in. I mean, obviously, Carl, like TNT and Tazo and Boyley, them. They brought it in, they made a massive scene of it. The young ones fucking loved them, yeah. Had off to the lads. 10 out of fucking 10 to them.
You know what I mean? They made a name for themselves and they're doing well now still.
Did you feel like it was, obviously, you just went to work at the Hangar like exclusively and you just didn't go back to the Monkey, and then I think that's when the DJs at the Hangar, you had Scott, Mooney, Carter, Quest, all of them lads weren't DJing at the Monkey, and then you had the internet forums come about, and then that's when people were saying, oh, well, there's a rivalry, it's either you Hang or the Monkey.
People wanted a rivalry.
People wanted it, didn't they? They
wanted a rivalry.
We wanted, you know what I mean, to create.
I've had this out with young Davy Mallow when he was on my pod, and I mean, all good, don't get us on. But he was saying, but it was the Monkey versus the Hangar against way. In your mind, it might have been, we didn't give a fuck.
There and shit.
We didn't give a fuck. We went to the clubs, party, did my shit.
Nobody really had a problem with anybody. You know what I mean?
Didn't.
Certain people had bit, like, obviously problems and that, but that was between them. Nobody else had any problems. Everyone,
it wasn't like a big mass movement against all we hit.
Yeah. That was just like obviously other people creating that.
But that gets back to my point with the Monkey. That was the mentality of the kids who were there at the time.
Definitely,
you know what I mean? Our school hates your school.
Playground banter.
You know what I mean? Well, we didn't give a fuck. Good luck to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Go on, lads. You know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. At the same time, Hoggy and Boyley and Greenwood, Keogh and Bethel were coming through like the Monkey in 2002.
Yeah.
You had Scotty J, Stretch and Impulse getting on at the Hangar. So it was like...
progression, you know what I mean? New MC coming in all the time, you know, same sort of thing.
Did you have any advice for them when they were getting on? Did you sort of steer them, or did you just sort of let them find the...
Yeah.
Well, I'll give Scott his first shots on the mic, but they were bringing something fresh, to be fair, you know what I mean? So it was all good.
You give
really.
them bits and bobs of advice, do you know what I mean? But then it's up to them to take note of the few little pointers here and there, but still...
They're keen as fuck, they know what they want to do, so you know what I mean?
They found their own feet, you know what I mean? And like, they've obviously done well, do you know what I mean? So...
So, like, round about that time, the MSN was kicking off. You had people talking, Ultimate Buzz, different forums.
Ultimate Buzz, where everybody knows everything about nothing.
Exactly. So, he's had the profile pictures where he's getting more people recognising you out and about. And
yes. Yes.
I see I always used to go on Ultimate Buzz and that, but yeah, you'd go to Newcastle for a day shopping or something like that, it'd be either Techno T or MC Jet, or, you know, you did get it, like, do you know what I mean? Like,
I did a thing where I'd had a bit of a bit daft banter with some young on the mic was throwing cans, so I was shouting at him. I shouldn't have brought it.
That was a powerhouse under 18s.
I'll not even bother going into what happened with it, like, but long story short, there was a bit where other boy stepped in there. So the Ultimate Buzz took that and they turned it into a ringtone. Right? So I'm in my local fucking shop buying a fucking loaf of bread and some eggs. All these old dears round us, these young chavs who knew us, are standing behind us and they set their ringtone and I'm giving it, who's that fucking divvy? And I'm like, oh, you know. And like, the last bit in the counter news and just going, is there anything else you want, Kev? Because of course these old women are going, that's disgusting, that's great. And just going, is there anything else you want, Kev? And I'm going, no. Are you sure there's nothing else you want so I can speak, you know what I mean? So like,
it was a ringtone all over the North East, wasn't it? All the young'uns had that on.
You know?
Who shot that fucking bottle? Kick-offs and
Well, it wasn't even a bottle, but any other ring I got was
Paulie
just
was going
madness.
mad, wasn't he, on that?
Wow, and there's just some fucking kid at the front thinking he was being funny, shotting cans at my feet, then hiding behind these lasses. And I thought, yeah, mate, you don't take the piss. I'm the one with the mic. I'm the one that takes the fucking piss, you know? And he'd shot something else and he'd hid behind these lasses. Now that's how it went. Who's the fucking divvy? You know what I mean? And
didn't the C part and they all just pointed? The C parted and all the fingers just went up was him. Like his kid skits and ran off.
You know, it was just a bit rave madness. There's been many times like that, you know, but like, no, they had to make it into a fucking ringtone, didn't they? You know what I mean? So
it's like social media now, like, moved on 10 years from even then. Now, if you imagine something like that happened, it would be
it's all magnified.
Everyone's phones,
it's like everybody knows about it.
there'd be conspiracy theories about it.
So it was around about 2006 or 2007, I think the Monkey closed. Obviously the Hangar was, I don't know where the Hangar was at the time, it was probably on its third or fourth venue by then. Yous were long gone from the Monkey, and it sort of started getting like a bit of a gradual decline in the rave scene. There was no all-nighters, there was no weekly events. The scouts started coming in. I think you started doing a bit of hosting and things. Did you think like this is sort of the end of the road?
Well, I knocked it on the head for 12 months. I did nothing for 12 months.
You left meter.
Left him to get on with it. Nah, I had businesses and that, man, and like you say, there wasn't that much happening. Even though like there was loads going on down the country uprising and that, you know what I mean? I could have been down there every week if I wanted, but I just took 12 months off. You know what I mean? I had to, just to reevaluate my life, sort shit out and all that, you know what I mean? As it happened, that's when we got into the hard style even more, you know what I mean? Because we weren't influenced by anything that was going on yet. And I come back, it was the end of the year. Bright Topgrove messages, says, listen, I'm putting a Hangar versus Uprising, do you want to come and do it? I thought, I'll go and have a one-off just for a night out with the lads, because a lot of the stuff I do if I go to clubs now is literally, it's a social thing. I mean, a lot of these people are a social circle of friends I've known for 20 years. With some of them, if I don't go to the clubs, I'll not see them again, you know.
Don't see them outside the clubs.
You don't see them at the clubs. So
but you've knew them for 20 years and you only see them at the clubs. It's like they're your best mate, but only at the club. But it's like...
I mean, you keep in touch otherwise, but it's the only time you get a chance to socialise. So
if you've spent 20 years, maybe it's once a weekend, maybe it's once a month for some, maybe it's 2-3 times a weekend for 20 years... They're like your best mate, do you know what I mean? But you only see them in a club, so you look forward to seeing people. A lot of people who you only ever see in the club, whether it's DJs, MCs, or punters.
But then these are friendships that you don't want to let go, you know, because they're good fucking kids. So anyway, I got invited to do the uprising thing. Just as I went as a social thing, once I did the one gig, you know what I mean? Scott says, we're doing the same with them up here. And
so you were back in.
Back in.
No choice.
Dragged back in by the short and curlies, you know.
So, like, at the end of 2009, 2010, I think you had Deja Vu was running, Stephen was doing that. And then after that, I think it was pretty much, I think Clash was running a little bit, but by then I sort of run out of steam. It was nothing really.
Long, did it?
The Scouts died a death up here.
Because it got hammered to death, just like any other style up here. What they do is they play the same style from the start of the night to the end of the night, instead of being diverse, playing having a structure to the night. Maybe he's having Scouts for the first couple of hours, warming up, then maybe he's going into a bit of hardcore or MCing or whatever, and then maybe he's running it down towards the end. They just hammer the style from the start of the night to the end of the night, and that's what they need to change up here now. Monta does it now. Monta's good at it. They start off with like house warm-ups or Scouts warm-ups.
Monta's got a
They build it up.
A hard style warm-ups.
You know what I mean? Or hard style warm-ups. Who does that? 10 out of 10 to them for having the balls to do it, because a lot of promoters won't have the balls to take that risk of playing different styles of music, and that's what the scene needs, without a doubt.
So it was like, when Monta started, I think it was 2012, you obviously had Static, people like that were doing stuff at Force 10, making their own stuff, and you had Seismic was running. Gillian was running that.
Seismic was a good outfit for playing different stuff. A lot of trance, like allowing other people to play different genres, different styles, class. That's what the scene needs. And the scene should keep going. It's going that way now, but let's hope it just keeps going more and more that way, and let's hope it just keeps getting better and better.
So the past 3-4 years, it's seen a revival really with Monta's become massive.
It's a whole new generation. It's a whole new generation of young'uns, you know what I mean? You know, so they can get away with playing fucking monster sound again. And I think it's new, you know what I mean?
That's just been remixed, hasn't it?
Oh, God, we're going to remix it. Aye. Oh, you know it. There'll be a few tears and wet eyes up in the fucking version.
You've had
some scare the bands coming on like
a few wobbly bottom lips, you know what I mean?
That's enough, don't say no more.
Don't say no more. It was a surprise.
It'll be a surprise, all right.
So you had like Velocities being around, Rave to the Grave, Unity, the Soundscape, which was good. What they've had in Bishop Auckland, Hysteria getting on in digital, but there's still like obviously old tunes are being played like quite a bit. Like, do you think that should be phased out and it should just be new stuff? Or
this is why I like Monta. This is why I've thrown me a lot in with Monta. Don't get us wrong, I do other gigs and after lads because I'll be friends and I'll not say no, but like that's why I said my main mission is to work with Monta, because everything's new and everything's freshly produced, and that's the only way the scene. All right, Lee. That's the only way the scene's going to ever progress, is by bringing out new stuff. You know what I mean? Move forward. Otherwise, just
hashtag.
Forget about it, like, you know.
Because I've seen your names appearing more on lineups as DJs now than MCs.
Playing hardstyle, what no one's let us do before. Till Lee from Monta let us do it, and then Scott let us do it.
We'll skid Scott out.
Right? We've been on other gigs, like, and then we've actually got at hardstyle at digital in Newcastle. We've gone out to Hellfire.
We've had some good big gigs. Had some good gigs.
We've had some good gigs, some rave gigs, which it's never usually allowed on at.
And I'd rather DJ now.
To be honest, a lot of people thought it would have killed it, but you had to have been there. They loved it. Absolutely loved it.
I've seen the video of
loved it.
Just playing it at, I think it was Monta.
You know what I mean? It's taking a risk. Wasn't it? People need to take risks. Unless, how do you know it's not going to work, or it's going to work unless you take that risk? You know what I mean? That is the.
So he's going to start giving Rick some royalties on his logo that he's made for you.
He owes us.
He owes us.
He owes us.
We've done him many favours. I'm sure a little logo there.
Bless his little cotton socks. It's all right, Rick.
Respect, Rick. You know
cheers,
what I mean?
Rick, lad. God bless you.
Lad.
So now in like 2020, well, even 2018, 19, there's another crop of MCs come through the past few years who are getting on. Letrix been around for quite a while. Intro, Smoggy, John Boy, Tricky, Fusion, Creeper, Rock Eye, Forbesy. Their styles even more evolved from what Tazo Ace and TNT and people like that were 10 years ago. What do you think of, like,
we are saying some of the, like,
I don't know, I would say they're old school now.
No,
They've been around a while
Jimmy's
now.
been around, but like...
But Bertie and all that.
Bosco and people.
Yeah,
Roar
Roscoe
in
and
this,
all
right?
that. Yeah,
It's-
they're more the newer school coming through, right?
It's evolved into a rap scene, hasn't it? The horse and rave days was, which I think's class. I mean, when they're all going into the studios and they're doing the studio sets, probably the best thing they can do, because if they're in a rave situation, well, let's face it, most of the kids are pilled out their fucking nut just jumping about. They're saying all these lyrics that they put a lot of thought into, right? They're getting lost. So they're doing all these live studios. It's become a scene in itself. It's all part of the one. But I say it's sort of like diversified. I don't know where it's going to go. Fuck knows where anybody knows what's going to happen right this moment in time. But I think there's the rave rap scene, as I call it, which is class. You know what I mean? There's a lot of talent, and there's like this rave host stuff that like what we do
More old school.
and others, you know?
It is, like you're saying, it is old school hosting, like knowing when to come in, knowing what to say.
It's not
at
what
the
you
right
say,
time.
it's what you don't say. It sounds more effective.
But there's a lot of
the less
people
you
still
say
want
it,
that.
but
There's other MCs that
it
don't
is
as
a
well,
style
you know
in
what I mean?
itself, you know what I mean? And like they have got the followers to it now, but if you just meet in the middle and like cut the rap out, go back to your old school, maybe go to your rap, meet in the middle, so it's half rap, half old school, minimum rap. There you go.
It's all about crowd control at the end of the day.
Control. Let the music speak. Let the music breathe.
Let me fucking speak, man.
Shut up,
Tell
man.
he's had a couple of fucking drinks, man. He fucking hell. No, who knows where it's going to go, but at the end of the day, I think that the lads doing all these studio sets are class, right? But a lot of it, in my opinion, it's not so much a case of it doesn't work live, it's wasted live. You know what I mean? And like, if you want to get an impact out of a crowd, you know what I mean, give them lyrics that can listen to, so they can sing back to you.
And learn.
You know what I mean? They sing back to you.
Now our solid of 2 MCs or 3 MCs.
My idea of hell.
Flat out. Like
My idea of hell,
you can
mate,
see
know.
the crowds.
I mean, 5 lyrics of an hour set, that's one lyric every 10 minutes and freestyle in between that. And hammer them lyrics into that crowd. You might have 50 lyrics. You can't say 50 lyrics in an hour set. How can a crowd remember them? So,
But I mean, there's like kids who've
Do you
been
know what I
massive through Facebook and the internet. I mean, like Jimmy Rock and them, they've got a massive following.
Huge.
And what I'm saying is everybody, the scene's now massive because it's so diverse. They've got your rap scene doing your studio things. You've got Jimmy and all them doing class at what they're doing. You've got us doing what we're doing, and it's massive. You know what I mean? It's probably getting back the best it's been for a long time. Like.
It is, because there's that many people doing different things and
that's
trying new
it.
things.
Put it across,
it's good. I think we'll just finish off with a couple of quick fire ones.
Oh dear.
oh, these the secret ones I looked at.
The secret ones I just had a quick glance at. So who's your favourite? I'll start with you, John, then go on to Kev. So who's your favourite DJ to work with all time?
That's really hard because I've worked with that many and I like that many. That it's hard to narrow down. That's just like asking us, what's your favourite tune? It's like what style, what genre?
Off the top of my head, I'll give it 3: Reaper, M-Zone, Scott.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's at the top of your head. But then again, the Selector C. You know what I mean? It was fantastic to work with. It's
different eras and different styles.
You know what I mean? It's yeah.
I mean, Scott be up there for me definitely because I've worked that many venues with him and done that many events with him as well, and he plays all the transcore stuff that I love and all that. You know,
now
what I mean?
it's all pop as I've seen there. Then again, this thing there's full effect. Stephen Energy, Daz Attack. You know what I mean? All there's. I know what you're saying. I know what you're trying to get. If we've got a favourite, but like to be honest, I could never say.
They all
play the
favourites.
part.
You all play the part in their own way, in their own style, and it's too hard to say. Do you know what I mean?
I forgot your name. I'm sorry.
Do you have any regrets from not doing things when you've had opportunities to do things in this scene?
Yeah, I should have killed him when I first met him. I'd have been out by now.
Yeah, he would have done like 25 years or something like that. You'd have just been getting out this year.
Just been getting out now, you know what I mean?
R.I.P. Jet, you know what I mean?
It's all right, I'd have been a little
You had the little Jack Russell's grave and then my grave
next.
there, you know what I mean? And he'd just been getting out now.
Are there any rhymes that...
But you wouldn't be doing this interview now if you know what I mean?
Would be, mate, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'd have just gone out, man.
Fair enough, yeah.
We'd straight into the studio. Is there any rhymes that you don't say now, what you used to say, what you've sort of retired?
I forgot more than I remember. Right.
Every time you make a couple of new ones, you forget a couple of old ones. And it's just like, obviously 25 years later, maybe some 25 year plus, you do forget them. Like.
You do.
Is there any rhymes which you hear people asking you to say?
Nah, not really. If anything, it's a bonus because
bonus.
you want you like cheers. Say this round. It's like cheers, mate. I forgot that belt there.
I think I've been a bit guilty of that, coming up to years and
It's class,
it's class. The jog your memory,
yes,
mate. It's like ideal. Some nights you have your good days and your bad days, and sometimes you forget ones you. You know what I mean?
Just have a favourite microphone they use, or is there anything?
SM58. I've always used SM58. Yeah, good, solid. He'll not have a fucking
SM48 for me.
Well, it would be,
Or
wouldn't it? You know what I mean?
AK-47.
Oh, yeah.
What tune do you despise the most? I think I know what was.
Either Monster Sound or
for me, it's
Shooting Star.
I Believe I Can Fly.
Not like that.
Do I not like that? You know,
That's a tune.
catch his hand grenade,
Oh,
Matty.
it's a fucking tune, all right. Now.
Get out of it.
It's a
You know, it'd come on, right?
special.
You'd come on, it comes in bouncing, you think, hey, this is fucking all right. This then would stop, and you go, I believe.
The worst ones do though. They come in charging us out, and you're like, and then it kicks in. It's like, oh no, man, please! You're looking for someone to shot the mic at. You know what I mean? Like it. Most I
Where's John?
Still doing now, you cunt.
What would you say is your favourite club or night that you've worked at?
It's got to be the Coliseum, hasn't it?
Coliseum.
It's got to be the Coliseum.
So when did Time Zone first start?
Started in 92, like illegal raves basically. Like we'd take all the speakers and go to a picnic area after the nightclubs had shut. Next thing you had about 300 people there rocking the night away. You know, we did a couple, like in my mates' like garage, but it was a big industrial garage, so we had about 400 or 500 in there. They were more or less just like events with like, I would get a pub, you know what I mean, find a real friendly manager and just do them from there. It's never like been sort of like an organised event as such, just sporadic events if and when we felt like doing it, you know. But we've always had a good turnout. It's always went well, like.
Why was it important to have like a different style of music policy than everything else? What was playing like sort of the later years was more the trance and.
It was needed. You needed something different, man. You know what I mean? It was all right. It was self-indulgent from our point of view, because it's what we were into.
Yeah.
But so were a lot of other people, and it provided
an alternative.
Yeah.
Any plans for bringing it back? If there's
a couple of boat trips once the carry-ons over in Dunwich.
Down in Durham City on the boat.
On the Prince Bishop's boat, you know, got a couple of them planned and see where else pops up. But it is as and when, yeah.
Sound. Kev, who do you think will eventually retire for the last time, you or Stretch?
I'd say Stretch without a doubt, like.
Well, yeah,
I don't know, like it's a neck to neck, it's a head to head. Without a doubt, it's still going on to this day.
I retire every Monday, man. You know what I mean?
I mean, there's been no clubs on for a year, man. But
and I'm still fucking retiring. You know what I mean?
I'm still hearing the retiring statements from maybe both of them, and that's without even any clubs going on this year.
You know, it is like when I did knock on the head for 12 months, and like this retirement scam. I'm not boring you with details, but there was reasons why I was good knocking on the head. Then something would happen where I couldn't say, like, say, the Hangar had said, right, I'm knocking it on the head in the October. Next thing, Scott lost the Hangar and had to go to the Palace. So I couldn't really fuck off, could I? You know what I mean? So went to the Palace, then he went to the boat. I says, right, I'm retired. That's what I did for 12 months, you know what I mean? But Stretch, no, you've got the copy, hasn't he, you know? Nah, God love him. I think we'll both be around for a long time, mate, you know?
John, do you know who let the dogs out yet or not?
I did actually find out, yeah. Me.
It was must have been Little Jet, was it? And then got him off the scene.
It started from there, yeah, but I did find out eventually, like, me.
Sound, thanks very much, appreciate it.
Yeah, nice one, mate.
What I'm at.
Okay.
Respect.
Papa, can you get a ghost in place?